Hello students, in this video I will talk about the very important part of the brain, that is the cerebellum. Okay, now what is cerebellum? The Latin is for little brain. Cerebellum, the Latin is for little brain, is a major feature of the hind brain of all the vertebrates. Okay, so cerebellum is Latin for little brain, and it's a major feature of the hind brain of all the vertebrates. Although usually smaller than the cerebrum, in some animals such as the morbride fishes, it may be as large as or even larger. Okay, so in some fishes, morbride fishes, it is very large. Okay, but in humans, the cerebrum plays an important role in motor control. Okay, for motor activities. It may also be involved in some cognitive functions such as attention and language, as well as emotional control such as regulating fear and pleasure responses, but its movement related functions are more solidly established. Okay, so main function is motor control. The human cerebellum does not initiate movement but contributes to coordination, precision, and accurate timing. It is not initiating the movement, but it is coordinating the movements with exact precision and accurate timing. It receives the input from the sensory systems of the spinal cord and from other parts of the brain. So the signals are sent to cerebellum from the spinal cord and the other parts of the brain, and integrates these inputs to fine tune motor activity. So these inputs are processed and they are converted into fine tune motor activity. So cerebral damage, it produces disorders in fine movements, equilibrium, posture, and motor learning in humans. So basically cerebellum is required for balancing and equilibrium. Okay, so what we learn in this cerebellum, it's a major feature of hind brain of all the vertebrates present in the hind brain. Okay, we have forebrain, midbrain, and hind brain. It is also known as little brain. Okay, Latin for little brain. Okay, and it is a feature of hind brain. It is very small as compared to cerebrum. Okay, if we talk about in humans, it is smaller as compared to cerebrum, but in certain fishes like morbride fishes, it is very large. It is involved in motor control, cognitive functions, attention, language, as well as emotional control. And which are the emotions control? Fear and pleasure responses. Okay, but the main function is related to motor control, movements. It contributes to coordinated precision and accurate movements, accurate timing, and the inputs, okay, is from the spinal cord, that is the cerebral, the sensory inputs are from the spinal cord and the other parts of the brain, and these inputs are then converted into fine tuned motor activity in the cerebellum. Okay, so when cerebellar damage occurs, it produces disorders in fine movements, equilibrium, posture, and motor learning in humans. Okay, now we proceed further. Which are the parts of the cerebellum? Which are the parts of the cerebellum? So if you take this, this is cerebellum, this is the cerebrum, this is the cerebellum. Okay. Now cerebellum consists of a narrow worm-like central body. Okay, it consists of a narrow worm-like central body which is known as vermis, and two lateral lobes, the right and the left cerebral hemispheres. Okay, so there are two cerebral hemispheres, the right and the left cerebral hemispheres, and these two cerebral hemispheres are connected by a central body which is like worm like. Okay, it is like a worm, so that's why it is known as vermis. Okay, so vermis of cerebellum is formed by 9 parts. Okay, so when two cerebellar hemispheres, they are connected with the help of a narrow worm-like central body which is known as vermis. Please remember this. So vermis, it is formed of 9 parts. The vermis is formed by 9 parts. Okay. Now we'll see what are the parts of the vermis. Okay, what are the parts of the vermis? The part of the vermis on the upper surface of the cerebellum is known as superior vermis, and the part on the lower surface of the cerebellum is called inferior vermis. Okay. Now the vermis is the central body, narrow worm-like, which is connecting the two right and left cerebellar hemispheres. Okay, it is made up of 9 parts. The part of the vermis which is present on the upper surface of the cerebellum. Okay, so the part of the vermis which is present on the upper surface of the cerebellum is the superior vermis. Yes, so it is present on the upper surface of the cerebellum. Okay, and the part on the lower surface of the cerebellum is called as inferior vermis. Okay, it is called as inferior vermis. Okay, so this is the vermis. Okay, if you take this diagram, this is the vermis. Okay, so it is connecting the two cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, so this is the vermis. You take this, see, this is the vermis. Yes, which is connecting the two cerebellar hemispheres. Clear? So it has superior vermis and inferior vermis. The superior vermis, okay, is present on the upper part of the cerebellum, and the inferior vermis is present on the lower surface of the cerebellum. So this is the vermis. Okay, now we'll see which are the parts which are present on the upper surface of the cerebellum. So that is forming the superior vermis. Okay, and which are the parts which are present on the inferior surface of the cerebellum or the lower surface of the cerebellum, that is forming the inferior vermis. Correct? So in the superior vermis, please remember these parts, very important part: lingula, central lobe, culmen, lobulus simplex, declive. So this is the part of the superior vermis, okay, which is present on the upper surface of the cerebellum. Inferior vermis consist of tuber, pyramid, uvula, nodulus. Okay, so these are the parts of the vermis. It's very important. These are the 9 parts of the vermis, and it is separated according to its location. Superior vermis, the part of the vermis which is present on the upper surface of the cerebellum, and inferior vermis is the part of the vermis which is present on the lower surface of the cerebellum. So if you see here in this diagram, okay, on the superior vermis is presence of lingula, central lobe, culmen, lobulus simplex and declive. Okay, so these are the parts which are present on the upper surface. It's very important. Remember according to the sequence, okay, not haphazardly. First is the lingula, the central lobe, the culmen, the lobulus simplex and the declive. And the inferior surface is presence of tuber, pyramid, okay, uvula and nodulus. So from about our superior to inferior surface, that is superior vermis to inferior vermis, is first lingula, then central lobe, then culmen, lobulus simplex and declive. 5 on the superior surface, that is superior vermis. And next 4 is tuber, pyramid, uvula and the nodulus. So this is the parts of the vermis, remember. Okay, the nodulus is connected on either side as an elongated and somewhat lobulated structure called flocculus. Now this is the nodulus, that is the last part of the inferior vermis. So this nodulus is continued. Okay, this nodulus is continued on either side. Okay, it is continued on either side. So you can see it is continues on either side as elongated and somewhat lobulated structure. So it is elongated and somewhat lobulated structure which is called as flocculus. Okay, so nodulus has on either side an elongated and somewhat lobulated structure which is called as flocculus. Okay, the nodulus and the flocculi, they together form the flocculonodular node. Okay, so they together form the flocculonodular node. Okay, so this was about the parts of the vermis. We'll proceed further. On either side of the pyramid there is another extension named paraflocculus. Okay, so on either side of the pyramid there is another extension. You can see on the either side of the pyramid there is another extension which is known as paraflocculus. Okay, understood. So superior vermis has lingula, central lobe, culmen, lobulus simplex and the declive. Inferior vermis has tuber, pyramid, uvula and nodulus. Yes, clear? The extension on the nodulus is known as flocculus and on the pyramid is known as paraflocculus. Okay, now we'll talk about the various fissures, okay, which are present on the surface of the vermis. So what are the fissures which are present on the surface of the vermis? We'll see one by one which are the fissures. Okay, the fissures present over the surface of the vermis are the primary fissure, okay, the pyramidal fissure, pre-pyramidal fissure and the posterolateral fissure. Okay, so there are various fissures which are present on the surface of the vermis. Primary fissure, pre-pyramidal fissure and the posterolateral fissure. So we'll talk here the primary fissure. Okay, now the primary fissure, if you see here, is present between the culmen and the lobulus simplex. You can see this is the primary fissure. Fissure means a deep cut. So this is between the culmen and the lobulus simplex. So that is the primary fissure which is present on the surface of the vermis. Next fissure is the pre-pyramidal fissure. You can see this is the pre-pyramidal fissure which is present between the tuber and the pyramid. Okay, so that is the pre-pyramidal fissure. And posterolateral fissure which is between the uvula and the nodulus. So this diagram is very, very important while describing the cerebellum. It makes the description very easier for you to remember also and to understand also. Okay, so the three fissures which are present over the surface of the vermis are primary fissure which is between the culmen and the lobulus simplex. You can see here. The next is the pre-pyramidal fissure. Pre-pyramidal. What is pre? Before the pyramid. So it is pre-pyramidal fissure which is present between the tuber and the pyramid. And the posterolateral fissure which is present between the uvula and the nodulus. Clear? So these are the fissures which are present. Okay, now we'll proceed further. The cerebral hemispheres, they are extended portions on either side of the vermis. Okay, so the cerebral hemispheres are the extended portion on the either side of the vermis. So suppose this is the vermis. Okay, I have shown you right now only. So here one ear, the other ear. Okay, so this is right cerebral hemisphere, this is the left cerebral hemisphere, and this is the vermis. And right now we describe the vermis of the cerebellum. Okay, so this is the vermis of the cerebellum. Clear? So here also one diagram you can see. This is the primary fissure. Okay, and here is the posterolateral fissure. The pre-pyramidal fissure is not seen right now here in this diagram, but this is the primary fissure which is present between culmen and lobulus simplex, and you have the posterolateral fissure which is present between the uvula and the nodulus. Okay. Now, cerebral hemisphere, these are extended portions on either side of vermis. Each hemisphere has two portions, lobulus ensiformis. Okay, so just remember this, there is two portions on each cerebral hemisphere, lobulus ensiformis or ensiform lobule, which is the larger portion of the cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, and the next is lobulus paramedianus or paramedian lobule, which is the smaller portion of the cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, so cerebellar hemispheres, as there was cerebral hemispheres, these are cerebellar hemispheres. Okay, if you remember, the two cerebral hemispheres were separated with the help of one deep longitudinal fissure, and they were connected to each other with the help of corpus callosum. If you remember in my previous video which I have explained on cerebrum. So just remember this, each cerebellar hemisphere has two portions, the lobulus ensiformis or ensiform lobe, which is the larger portion of cerebellar hemisphere. Okay, so one cerebellar hemisphere, one large portion and one small portion. So the large portion of one cerebellar hemisphere is lobulus ensiformis or ensiform lobe, and the small portion, okay, is known as lobulus paramedianus or paramedian lobe. So suppose this is one lobe, so I am dividing into, suppose this is an imaginary plane which I am dividing. Okay, so this is, as you see, this is large, this is small. Okay, this is large and this is small. So the large portion is known as lobulus ensiformis or ensiform lobe, and the small portion is known as lobulus paramedianus or paramedian lobe, which is the smaller portion. Okay. Now, the next thing is the divisions of the cerebellum. There are anatomical divisions, phylogenetic divisions, and physiological or functional divisions of the cerebellum. So first is the anatomical divisions, phylogenetic division. Phylogenetically means process of evolution, how it was evolved, which part was evolved first. Okay, and physiological or functional divisions. Okay, so we'll talk about the divisions of the cerebellum in my next video. Thank you, students.